Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Motorsport Manager, and it is week 18 of competition. And today marks the beginning of our fourth season in this Lower League Manager series, using the Formula One Season 2017 mod that makes this the GP3 category. Expectations this year are to finish 8th or above. We boosted our financial rating as a player this season. Our car is finally coming along. Since the beginning, we were 10th out of 10 teams in the division, and we were a very distant 10th for a long time. But now, as we begin our fourth season, our tactics last year have paid off immensely. Without any new parts for the car at all, going off of the base improvement in the off-season, we now have the 9th best engine on the grid, finally getting out of the cellar. We also have the 9th best gearbox on the grid, finally getting out of the cellar. Now, last year, a rule change saw the brakes go from a spec part to one that you put on yourself, and we were first. And our first new part of this year actually is a new set of brakes, even though we were already first in this category. It was the most and more immediate improvement we could make on the car here from the beginning of the year. So I went ahead and added one new brake part. But our second part, that's only a couple days into production, is for the suspension, where we are still the weakest in the grid at 10th. But you can see the improvement of the car is quite noticeable. And finally, we are no longer the 10th car on the grid. We've actually moved up 2 spots and are 8th. Our chassis for this year is identical to last year. However, through a couple of off-season events, we've added 1 star in tire heating and 1 in tire wear. We've kept the same look for this year. And in our headquarters, we finished our previous work that we were underway on and are now putting in a helipad. So we have continued to improve steadily, bringing us to 6th in the grid in headquarters. This was also another category where we were a distant 10th not so long ago. And the helipad's going to be ready pretty quick. Just a couple, 2 or 3 more weeks, and then we'll be able to get on to our next improvement. And with a healthy balance of 47 million, we should be able to put a pretty nice upgrade to the headquarters coming up next. Yeah, just 2 weeks till that helipad's done. Looking at the team, this is one area where I have made massive improvements. We've brought in 2 new race mechanics here just in the last couple of weeks to replace our rolling contract half-star, pretty sad and pathetic race mechanics that we had. It was as if you had taken me off the street and made me the race mechanic. But now we have 2 decent mechanics, and they're both signed to 3-year deals, so they're going to be around for a while. Doust is still around for 2 more seasons, so we have a much improved staff, so much to the point where we are now 3rd on the grid. So, car's up to 8th, our headquarters is 6th, and our staff is 3rd. Our pit crew, at the end of the season, I fired 1 guy and had 1 decent enough replacement, so we got slightly better. We're 4th now. Sponsors continues to be our strong suit at 2nd, but I've also made a driver change. Quinn is now gone. I was able to re-sign Errant, who had a short contract when we first signed her. She's got a huge pay raise, but we were able to retain her services. And the other driver, when I hired Errant their mid-season last year, the other driver that we were in contract negotiations with was Gil. And Gil was actually still available and better than any of the other drivers that were interested in signing with us. So I actually ended up signing Gil to replace Quinn. So now we have two decent quality drivers, enough so that we are now 5th on the grid for our driving duo. And he's got a pretty good marketability as well. Just slightly below Quinn, who we replaced, but the quality is far, far better than what Quinn offered. So the car's better, the drivers are better, the headquarters is continuing to improve, the staff is tons better, sponsors are still good, and the pit crew continues to improve. And you look at that, nothing is in the cellar anymore. We're still middle of the pack. We're not tops anywhere, but we have a competitive team finally. So my hopes are very high for this year, and I don't think we're going to have any problem getting 8th on the grid, which was our demands here at the beginning of the year. I think we might actually even get higher than that. Maybe quite a bit higher. I think we could be a top 3 or 4 team this year if things fall together right, or at least a top 6 team. All right, well, we are ready to get the season underway. We did finally get our last sponsorship spot filled. Bonus is for 10th place or higher. It was just under $3 million up front and $400,000 available to finish in the top 10 race by race. We'll look at that later. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with that 10th or above bonus pool and see if we can't get that. We do have a negative balance now with all the improvements we made to the staff and the driving team, but it's not a major negative by any means. And with a simple top 10 bonus, we can actually turn it into a profitable race and not dip into that 47 mil too much. All right, we're going to take a look at the part fitting. I have not looked at this at all yet. At this point, it's all the original parts on the car, which of course start the season with very, very low reliability. I've taken one part from each area outside of the spec parts that start with 80% reliability, and I've drastically improved the reliability of these parts. And I am going to put those parts on our number 1 car, even though our drivers do have equal status. This is going to make Gil angry today, but that's okay. I'll deal with that morale hit so that I can get one car competitive that's not going to have to pit and fix parts, and likely Gil will be competing amongst those who suffer that same fate by the end of the race. He won't be able to push, but Errant should be able to get through this first race without having to make an extra pit of some sort. Now, I can at least get you some performance there, Gil. It's going to cost you a little bit of reliability. Okay, that one's good. And this one's good. All right. So looking at that, let's see. Estimated race position is 20th for Gil. Pretty poor car there. But Errant, look at that, 13th. So you figure we do the same thing for Gil by next week, by the next race. Gil should be able to hit around 13th. And then Errant, we can continue to improve from there. And we did get the new brakes put on, despite their low reliability of just 51%. All right, there were a couple rule changes for this year. We have part stripping now. or weight stripping as it's referred to, where you can sacrifice reliability to gain a performance boost. And then the part gets repaired after the weekend of racing is done, and you come out with a permanent performance bonus. But you've got to have reliability high in the first place for that to have any positive effect. If the reliability is low, oh nice, and they're both 11 on feedback, so I'm going to have better feedback now than I did previously. Alright, so we need some very high downforce for this race. That's actually enough to get us kind of in the window. And I still expect the same tire issues that I had. Tire wear is still very high. It's just the heating that's a little bit better. Actually, no. I should be better off on the tire wear now this year than last year. But you can see there's still a pretty significant jump. And we're also going to be facing longer races this year. So besides the weight stripping, the other thing going on for this season is there is now an increased length to the races throughout the year. Alright, now setup's good here, but we already saw that we needed a lot of downforce. So I'm going to go ahead and add some downforce now. Alright, here's that weight stripping option. So you can... Oh, it's kind of like all the parts. Interesting. I didn't know it would be like that. And I don't know if it's a permanent gain or if it's week by week, actually. I haven't come across weight stripping until now in this game, even though I've had quite the number of playthroughs. But we're definitely not going to be doing any weight stripping now while the reliability is so low on the cars. Alright, we're going to get both cars out on the track. And my strategy remains the same from last year, where the objective in practice, as it's a short practice session, just 12 minutes, and there's no qualifying, it's important that you get the setup right. So we're not going to run a hot lap. We're going to bring our drivers back in here at the end of first lap and use their feedback to work on the setup. Alright, looks like the handling's right. So we got one category. Oh, and downforce is really close as well. So we'll add just a little bit more. That's too much. There we go. Okay, and then we need some serious change in the speed. That is offsetting the handling. So do I want to spend the time to balance that? You know what? I'm going to leave the handling as it is. I know where excellent is, and I'll find that mark later. We have a pretty big difference here in the speed that we've got to overcome. Okay, and then we've got good, good, and poor here for new arrival to the team, Gil. Now I wonder if we need to push further over for the downforce, or if it's going to be the other way. Let's try the other way and see what happens. And we're going to need a whole bunch of speed balance, looks like. And pre-race report said acceleration is really important on this track, so we're going to go that direction, like the other car. And the handling, well, we're going to have to see a difference if we're going to if we're going to get that sorted out. So we're going to try that for this car. Alright, they're both back out on the track. We're going to get them both in. Nice. Okay, we are very close. Excellent. Great and great. 95% after just one set of adjustments. Okay, and we were on excellent already for the handling. We just need to dial that back in. The speed is great though, so what I'm going to do is dial that handling back in and see what small adjustment that makes for the speed, and see if that just happens to get us on track. There you go. So we're going to try that. And as close as we are, I think we can afford to run a hot lap. Gill, not so good. Handling got worse. Setup, kind of in general. Speed balance is closer. Wonder if we went too far. We had to have gone too far to go from very poor to okay. So speed balance needs to come back towards top speed a bit. The handling needs to go towards oversteer. And the downforce does need to go right over to the edge. So we need handling towards oversteer. Okay, and then speed balance, I wanted to bring that back. One more. Might have been one too many. We'll see. Okay, Gill I need to get back in, but Errant we're going to let run a hot lap or two. There we go. Much closer. Great, great, and great. So says Tony. Alright, it's 95%. Let's see, which direction do we want to go? Maybe back a little bit on the handling. So if we come back this way, but I'm guessing the speed balance might need to come back the other way too, because we were closer. So let's try the other direction. No, that way. Okay, and then downforce. I better check where. That was good. That was okay. That was great. Obviously I'm off the mark, so it can't be, but it looks like it could be all the way to the mark. Alright, one of these days we'll get Gill right. Okay, I'm going to bring him back in again. Meanwhile, Errant, 18th. Ouch. Not the time I was looking for. Alright, so it actually is the direction I suspected, but I didn't want to spend the time. I wanted to bring the handling back a bit, but without spending another 5 seconds and tweaking that. We got 2 of them right though. So handling needs to come back. Just like that. That should about do it. Tires holding up well. Meanwhile, Errant is gonna step it up. Oh, except for you're at the end of your lap, aren't you? Oh no, there you go. One more lap for Errant. Now you're coming back in. Okay, we only stepped it up very late in the lap, and yet it was enough for Errant to jump to 11th with half-worn medium tires. Meaning we actually do have some speed in this car finally. Okay, we got race trim 2 unlocked as we go into the final minute of the session. And Errant, looks like I went the wrong way on the setup. No. 97%. But we still haven't locked in the handling. Just a hair more on the handling. And speed balance needs a hair more to the right. Oh. A hair more left and a hair more right should just about get us right there. Okay, go ahead and attack Gil. Oh, time's up. Not a good time for Gil there, but I think that's because Gil came directly into the pits because time was already up instead of completing the lap. But 11th in our first practice of the year, so not too bad. And again, we have one car that's going to be competitive and shouldn't have any reliability issues in this race. And then Gil might have to pit for a minute or longer to fix the car. But so will a lot of other cars in the field. Okay, how are we looking on the weather? Clear so far. Both cars are going to have a 20% bonus running mediums. Okay, it looks like we did get the setup almost spot on. They're both set to run softs though, and that's not what I wanted. We got to 97%. Okay, 13 laps worth of fuel. And we got to 98%. So that's excellent. Okay, here's again that option to weight strip and get more performance but lose a little more reliability. You can do it between each stage, practice, qualifying, and the race. Of course, we have no qualifying. Now, here's the sad thing is the random grid starting spots. Gil's going to start 3rd, but Errant's going to start all the way back in 18th today. After the first race, you actually have point standings, but in that first race, it seems to be random on how it's determined. I don't want to do too much fuel burn because that's going to be the weakness this year. We have really low fuel burn, but we're better on tires, so I should be able to run harder, longer driving style-wise. But the engine modes I'm going to have to keep an eye on this season. But pit stops are when they are, so. So Calderon's still running for DAMS Junior. And it was Calderon who knocked us from 9th to 10th last season with a pass with about a lap to go or about 2 laps to go on Errant. Of course, if Quinn was any better, we would have easily had 9th or even 8th place by the end of the season. Wow, Solorio is starting first. I think they're going to maybe win this thing today if they can get an easy early jump. Wow, and Rapax is... never mind, Paragon's going to win. He's going to run away with it. He's starting 5th. He's going to start 20th pretty much the whole rest of the year. He's heavy favorite. Wow, Kvyat is all the way down here in GP3 now. Riding for Prima Racing. He's going to be a top driver this year, but I would think probably around 4th or 5th. Johnson could be around 2nd. Callum Lott's going to be competitive this year. All right, here we go. It is race day number 1. And Arendt all the way back, 18th. Does not get the quick start, but Gill had 2nd for a moment there, but gets passed by 2 cars on that first corner. And the highest car on the grid that's running medium tires is Gill. So it looks like we have 32 laps to get through for this race. That's going to take a little getting used to, as the race lengths are going to be quite a bit longer this season. So Gill sliding right back, 7th place already. And we've already, as fast as we're dropping back, I'm going to ease off. And look at that, Arendt in last. So, the season is off to a bit of a rough start, as both cars are struggling, but Carroll has already wrecked out, so there's already just 19 cars left. There's a good chance that we could have a small number of cars finishing this race. For Gill, we're definitely going to need to keep an eye on that, so we can at least keep Gill running and not out of the race. But meanwhile, Arendt is the one whose park conditions should hold up and get us through the race okay. Gill is continuing the slide now, 13th place, and Arendt is not doing so hot either, sliding back. You can already see there's Gill just ahead of us, as we've closed right on down on our teammate who started 15 places ahead. And on lap 3 of the opening race, our cars are running last 2 spots on the grid. Not where I'd like to be by any means. Hit that front stretch. I'm gonna. Oh, Aaron just drove right by Gill there, and is in a good position here to maybe grab another position. Oh, bad corner there. ERS was being used in front of us as well. A backstretch might be a better spot to use the ERS instead of the front stretch, which is quite short. Alright, keeping an eye on condition. The spec parts are going to be just fine, but everything else we need to keep an eye on. They're all below 50 except for the suspension. There we go. Arendt making a pass on Lorandi. Wow, I'm surprised Lorandi's so far back, unless Lorandi's running with a new team. Whoa, but they use that ERS to get back ahead. But there you go. We've got our ERS as well. Use just a little bit of ERS there for Gill. Just enough to close the gap. Arendt looking to do it the old-fashioned way. passing on merit and car ability. Let's see. Both car condition. Tires are still good. 55% now, though, for Errant. Errant is burning through a bit faster than Gil is, and plenty of fuel. So let's go ahead and speed things up a bit so that we can get to our next phase here soon. This time around, I need to make sure I use the ERS for Gil. Cars are already pitting, a few of them. Ready and go, 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 go. Very nice speed boost there for Gil and Errant. Side by side, and makes the pass on Martin. Martin's a new driver here in the series. So 13th and 17th now. From last two spots on the grid, we seem to be looking a little bit better now as time goes on. As I'm running Errant a little bit harder, I'm probably going to pit Errant first. And actually, look at those tires. It might need to be this lap. 34% already. But how many laps? Think about this for a second. And meanwhile, Gil needs to use that ERS. This is 8 laps. That means we're a quarter of the way done. So it looks like we're going to have to pit 3 times. And that's with the mediums. And fuel-wise, we're so bad on fuel that we're going to have to fill up every time. But I don't need to be full. So if I've used, and I've got almost a lap to go, let's get a little closer before we do our pit setup. I want to kind of see where we're at. Alright, that's close enough. So, 8 laps. Tires definitely are just about gone, so it's definitely time to come in. But the fuel, 0.21. I think I have just over 0.21 left in the lap, meaning we'll be below 4, which means we've used 9 and just over 9 laps worth of fuel. So I'm going to make sure there's 10 laps worth of fuel in the tank. And then that'll be our mark throughout the race, is 10 laps worth of fuel at a time. So we need new tires. We need 10 laps worth of fuel. That'll shorten our pit stops a little bit. Plus, that'll make us a little bit lighter going through the race. Okay, and Gil should be able to make it one more lap. Alright, so Errant into the pits for the first time this season. Good so far. Good so far. Well done. Errant heading back out on the track. The 7th car to come in, and we're all the way in the back, so that's actually not good, with quite a distance between us and everybody else. Now let's get an eye on Gil here. Gil's at 30%. We'll be down to 20 next time if I try to push it one more lap. Let's see, if you can make it 10 laps per, I might be able to stretch it and pit just twice. So we're going to back off a little bit this time. But then again, Gil's going to end up having the reliability stuff. Hanging on so far, though. So Gil is going to pit this time. 2 laps later. and that is 10 laps. So we want to make sure we have more than 10 laps worth of fuel. Let's say 11. Okay, so Gill's running 13th. Arendt has made a pass now on Lot. Arendt going for the pass. Up to 17th. No! Can't hold it. Boy, that was a poor piece of driving to lose that one. Okay, Gill is into the pits from 13th. Good so far. There goes Arendt well ahead of Gill now. And Gill's coming back out on the track last on the grid. But if we can save one pit stop, and if Gill does hold off on the condition, Gill does gain a lot, but you can already see the parts have dipped below 40%. Alright, so the last few cars are pitting now. Kvyat is coming in, Laurandi's coming in, Ericsson's all coming in. And it looks like we got a little fight on our hands for position. The pass is already made, though, before we come around to the spot that makes it worthwhile. So after the first pit cycle, Arendt is 15th. And Gill is essentially last, 19th, with Carroll out of the race. Not good so far, but it's always weaker at the start of the season, especially with the quality of the team that I have. It just takes us a bit longer to get things going. I remember last year, after 3 races, we were doing pretty horribly. Alright, well, Arendt makes the pass on Lot there. That was nicely done. Nice, easy pass, up to 14th now. Gill's got some ground to make up, though. Wow, they really took off on us there. Even though we used ERS as well. I know we started a little later on the ERS, but they just flew. This battling for position is not good for the final standings, as Arendt needs to have some clean air to put up good lap times. And it's still a couple laps before, about 2.5 laps before Arendt needs to be coming in, going for the pass. And Arendt completes the pass. Well done. And just a little boost for Gill there, trying to pick up some speed in the backstretch. Alright, so now we're running 14th and 19th. We're just about to the halfway point in this race. And Arendt is starting lap 15, so we need to get 2 more laps out of those tires with just 47% remaining on them. Alright, we've got some ERS. I want to make sure we are not going to get past here. And we should be secure. That should keep us well ahead of Lot, and maybe we can pull away a bit. Gil's got plenty left to make it past that lap 20 point. It's just Errant we need to keep the close eye on with the pace that she's going through the tires here. Alright, now this would be the lap that we would need to hit. But it looks like I might be able to squeeze one more lap out of them and get a little security for the end of the race. Let's check in on the cars. Park condition is fine for Errant, but not for Gil. But it's been like that and kind of throughout the race. So Gil's actually holding the parts up fairly well at this point. Second round of pits is getting underway. A number of cars are coming in this lap. And Errant is 35%. Yeah, I'm going to squeeze one more lap. I got enough fuel to do that as well. So this will be the lap that Errant comes in. So we'll get the options set. We want to have 10 laps worth of fuel. So Gil hasn't even passed one car. All those cars that just made their second pit, 5 total, Gil didn't get past any of them. Errant only got past 3 of them though, so not that Errant's doing a whole lot better than Gil, but Gil's definitely on the weaker car today, so. But Gil's working the tires a lot better than Errant has been thus far. Okay, both cars have quite a bit of ERS. I need to make sure that I use that before it fills. Errant's into the pits. Second stop on the day. Will need one more stop before being good to go to the end. And there she is. Clean stop. Back out on track. Last place, though, at this point. Gil did finally get past a car that pit. Our own. And Errant was the only one to pit that lap, surprisingly. Okay, Gil is on that stretch where we want to use up some of that ERS. Alright, now Gil's still good to go for a couple of laps. So we're not going to need to do anything just yet. Still good to go. Okay, Gil's going to get probably one more lap. We're at 35%, so I think we're going to bring in Gil this time. And there's 12 laps remaining, though. I need to get one more lap. I have to. If Gil's going to make it to the end. Now that's going to partially depend on the parts that are now starting to struggle. Errant's closing up on the back of Gil here. But Gil is gaining a bit by this strategy. But again, I have to get one more lap out of this car. Because we're not on 21. The leader's on lap 21. Gil is still on lap 20, so Gil's going to pit this time. And then we're going to try to get to the end if the parts hold up. Okay, 11 laps should be enough to get there. We're not going to do any part repairs. We're going to try. We'll pit if we have to, of course. Unless there's literally nobody that's out, but alright, we're going to turn our focus onto Errant now. Errant only needs to get past lap 24. Use that ERS. Get on past. Get on past. There you go. Alright, Martin was in long stop to fix parts. Looks like Lot might have already as well. you got some cars that are starting to fall back quite a bit. Shu is also now fixing parts, so we're seeing lots of mechanical issues. So Errant, despite the poor performance, Gil, right rear mistake. Come on, there was low percent chance of failure there. 2 extra seconds on that pit stop. That's gonna hurt. Alright, now we've got to use Gil's ERS here before it fills. Gil is a lap down? Where's the leader? Gil's right there with the leader, about to get lapped. Okay, checking in on Errant. We're at 55%. We've got 5 laps worth of fuel. That 24 mark is coming up here in just a moment, so Errant's going to be good with just one more stop. But the sad point is we still have to make one more stop. Now, Gil's the big questionable one, whether we're going to make it to the end. In terms of tires and fuel, Gil can make it to the end. We just don't know if the parts are going to hold up well enough to get there, with a quarter of the race to go. Meanwhile, Errant is still good to go for this lap, so no problem. We can go at least one more, maybe 2. 47%. Oh, there you go. Gearbox is down to 15. I'm going to leave this pop up for now. At 15, I'm not going to automatically pit. I knew it was going to drop below 20 before the end of the race. I was hoping it would be a couple more laps before that happened. But yeah, there's a good chance Gil will have to pit again. Errant's still at 42% on the tire wear. Nobody's had any mechanicals to be out of the race yet, but you would think we're going to get a few here real soon. But a lot of people are taking lengthy pit stops to repair any issues. Okay, Errant is going to make it one more lap, and that will leave us, well, let's see, we're on 25. Just 7 to go to the end. I don't know if we want to try to squeeze one more out or not. It'll shorten the pit stop and it'll make the tires that much better. But we're already down to 30. $31. Let's go ahead and pit now. There's no point running one really slow lap just to be able to run slightly harder at the end. Okay. That should be enough to get us to the end. Parts are starting to come down. There's certainly nothing perfect about Errant's parts. They're just functional. 11 seconds for that final pit stop for Errant. I think we should be able to get back inside the top 10 before the end of the race. As long as there's no mistakes here. Alright, that's a pretty good stop. Looks like we lost four places. Yeah, we're going to stay in 14th. Leader coming around, though. Alright, now back to monitoring Gil. This should be good to go to the end of the race. Now I need to watch that ERS and use it appropriately. Okay, those parts are holding up so far. They will degrade again at some point here before the end of the race. But we are running 14th and 16th right now, and there's a pretty good gap behind Gil. Gil's not going to get passed on the track, at least not without a problem. Oh, there you go. We need to pit. 2% left on the gearbox. Gil will not make it to the end of the race with that many laps left. So we're going to put on new tires. We already have enough fuel to get to the end. I'm not going to fix anything else. I think everything else will make it to the end. So Gil is going to have to pit. There you go. Genie retired. So there's our first mechanical of the day. We barely made it. Come on, Gil. Come on, get back out there. Gil's down to last for now. But if there's any more retirements, Gil can take advantage. Alright, well, we're going to focus on Arent here for the rest of the race. Arent should be good to go to the end. There's Ericsson into pit. It's a regular pit stop, though. So Arent gains the position, but nowhere near Gil. Gil's well back in the field right now. The leader is right behind Arent, so with only a handful of laps to go, Arent is actually 1 lap off of that pace. Meaning there's probably only going to be about 9 cars left on the lead lap by the end of this race. Lot is in and fixing with a mechanical, so there you go. Gil has gained 1 position that way. Ooh, we've got a crash. Oh, Paragon, who should be winning this thing. If all things were equal and fair, that would be your race winner. That's the best driver with the best car. In terms of overall, anyway. There you go. Arent gets around, though the blue flag should have helped us with that, but it gave us some distance between us and getting lapped. Here's another pit stop. Hubert, or Hubert, I don't know what their nationality is. I'll need to look at that later. But Hubert is taking a mechanical right now, so that's going to be a lengthy pit stop. There we go. Arent moves ahead and is pretty close to Calderon now. Calderon is a car that in normal circumstances we can run neck and neck with and potentially be a little bit faster, but it looks like Arent just nailed the 18th place car, which they should have been blue flagged and not been allowed to be in that position in the first place, but it seems that Arent is the one who made the mistake here. Front wings holding up, though, with only 2 laps to go. We're going to stay in this thing. Alright, looks like Arent might be getting past here, so with that, we'll use what's left in those tires for the last couple of laps. That's from 10th position now. Gil has climbed to 16th. No, we're not going to repair your brakes. They're going to make it to the end. Last lap. Arent might get 1 more, and that's probably a good thing if we get 1 more. That wing will hold up till the end. We are close to Calderon, though. So if we're going to have a shot, it's got to be... Ooh, but I'm not going to have Oh, yeah. No, I'll be fine excess fuel-wise. So that was Lot that we had that incident with. Not gonna push the engine mode because I'm worried. Oh, race finished. Did we get lapped? We didn't get lapped, did we? I was watching Gil there at the end. Well, we got 10th place, so we did meet our sponsor objective at least. And 16th, it appears that Gil will finish there. Oh, wait. Push. Oh, almost got 15th actually right at the end there. Ericsson was losing a ton of time. Must have had a part break because the tires were fine. Or ran out of fuel. So Johnson, which is Paragon's teammate, wins the first race. Alright, well, we grabbed a 10th and 16th in our first race of the season. The car condition definitely had an impact on Gil's finish. Otherwise, Gil probably would have been a couple positions higher, maybe 3. But not bad. Middle of the pack. And that's kind of the point. I think we can actually be middle of the pack this year. And by the end of the season, with some improved parts, I think we might be able to start getting ourselves a little bit higher up. We'll see, though. But that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe. And tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.